And he's trying to tell me to come over there. This literally unfolded in front of me at 13 years old. In fact, I didn't even tell my parents or probably anyone until I was like 40 years old, because I just put it behind me, because my dad probably would have this guy. It started feeling like a really kind of a dark place.
How do you keep that in? Any sexual type trauma?
Well, kind of like similarly, like around that time, there was this really another weird situation. So this is kind of like, I'd say, just a window into what that, not necessarily skateboarding, but just kind of that Hollywood, LA kind of world was like. And I have a really hard time even talking about like what happened here, but I think a lot of guys and stuff have gone through this and they don't want to talk about it.
Well, Dale, I'm not going to pressure you to talk about it. And the reason I ask is there are so many kids that go through this shit, and I mean, it's coming out on, they're making movies about it now, Sound of Freedom and it's I don't know if it's hitting mainstream media, but I mean, we got the Puff Daddy thing, you got the Epstein stuff, you've got, people are kind of waking up to this.
There's a shocking amount of, pedophiles out there.
It's insane. And even in my own personal experiences with interviewing people, unfortunately, I never had to go through anything like that, but I can't believe, we do the childhood stuff. Like, I've always done, like, the kind of the life story, and then we hit this point where one person, I can't remember who the first one that brought it up was. It may have been Prime Hall. And then I started realizing, like, holy shit, man, like 50% of my guest list has been sexually traumatized in their childhood. And so the reason I bring important. It up is, because there's so many kids out there that are going through this kind of stuff, and I think when somebody that I'm interviewing talks about their experience and how they overcame it, and if we do go into it, I'll ask you, what advice do you have for kids that are going through that kind of situation? They don't know where to turn. And so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I think it's important. And that's kind of why I brought it up previously, is something I wanted to talk about for those kids who have gone through something like this, or even adults. But what happened in my case was there was this judge. So he was kind of well-respected, like nobody thought of him as a threat, anything like that. And there was one contest, and he said, "Hey, I'll pick you up." And
a skateboarding judge.
Yeah, so
not
he was
like
just
a litigation.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I apologize. So he was a judge for these skateboarding competitions for California Amateur Skateboard League. So he was an older gentleman, and not a gentleman. He was a piece of shit. But anyhow, so he had talked to my parents, and there were contests every weekend, and usually my mom would take me, or my dad, or both of them. And for this particular contest, he called. He's like, "Oh yeah, if you want me to take him, I can, and I'm going to take these other kids as well, and then you guys can just come up the next day, because usually there's like a practice, say on like a Friday, competition on Saturday, and then you go home. So you usually stay one night if it's not local." So this guy picks me up, and I'm, again, a similar age to with this other situation. So I forget exactly, but around 13, 14, something like that. So he picks me up and then tells me, "Oh, we're not picking up the other kids," which is my first kind of red flag. I'm going, this is kind of weird. He's like, "Oh yeah, their parents decided they're picking them up, so we're just going to go." So.
And you knew right then something was up.
It kind of like got my hackles up. I'm like, that's weird. you know?
Yeah.
And I, like, thankfully, the way I was raised, this could have been a lot worse, as you'll find, because I was pretty strong-willed. I wrestled when I was young. I felt physically capable, even though I was, 13. But, I'm sitting here now by myself with this grown adult, and we're going to California. Or going, I think, somewhere up near LA from San Diego. So we go to the hotel, or go get something to eat, go to the hotel, and then he just starts drinking. So he's drinking like hard alcohol. And he's trying to get me to drink. Like, hey, like, just take a shot. And he's kind of like ridiculing me, like, oh, if you, like, what are you, a wuss? Like, you could have a drink. It's no big deal. You know what I mean? So, and I'm like, no, I'm just kind of like staying away from this guy. So as the night progresses, he puts on porn. So there's 2 beds in this room. So he's on the bed, he's drunk as can be, and he puts on a porno. And then he literally just whips it out and starts like pleasuring himself. And I basically at that time, and he's trying to tell me to come over there.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So like this literally unfolded in front of me at 13 years old, and I'm going like, what? I had a good family. Like,
yeah,
they would have never expected anything like this. I don't think it ever even crossed their mind back then, In fact, I didn't even tell my parents or probably anyone until I was like 40 years old, because I just put it behind me, because my dad probably would have killed this guy. And I'm not exaggerating. That's what he would have done. Anyhow, so I ran into the bathroom. I slammed the door shut. I locked it, and he starts trying to get into the room, or get into the bathroom. So he's, oh, come out here and this. And so I start screaming at him, like, get the hell away from me, get out of here. I'm screaming bloody murder, like, at this point. And so he like backs off because he's afraid probably someone's going to hear me. And then I just spent the night in the bathroom. Damn. With the door locked. Wake up the next morning, go to the contest and see my parents, and that was basically the end of it. So it wasn't like this. It could have been a lot worse, is what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. But it was just all these things in this time are kind of happening, and it started feeling like a really kind of a dark place, a dark environment. And I think my parents were sensing that as well, and started thinking about getting back to Oregon at that time.
Holy shit. I mean, how do you keep that in for 30?
What's weird about it is I remember at the time thinking, I don't want to, like, I'm going to get in trouble if I talk about this because of, like, the porn was on. You know what I mean? So I'm going like, ooh, like, I shouldn't watch. It's embarrassing. And it's, and you're thinking like, that you are at fault somehow. I remember thinking like, I'm going to get in trouble if I talk about this for whatever it is I wasn't, whatever it is that I did to be a part of this. Because like I say he put on a porn on that trip. He had like porno magazines out and stuff. So I think that these pedophiles do things to where a child feels guilty for being even a part of it, and then they use that against you. So it's like, oh well, if you say anything, you're going to get in trouble. It's kind of the feeling I had.
Holy shit! Did you have any type of communication or relationship with that person afterwards?
I mean, I would see him. And so the people I did tell was other kids, like the other skaters and stuff. And I basically just said, hey, stay away from that guy because he's a creep. Like, and they're like, yeah, like we've had similar experiences. So, but nobody told their parents, everybody just felt like, I don't know, just didn't want to. It's like the child's mind doesn't want to create all that. You're kind of like, I don't want to have all these problems. We got enough problems,
Yeah.
So that it was like, again, it could have been a lot worse, but it's something that makes an impact on a young person's mind at that age.
What kept it in until you're 40?
I just buried it. You know what I mean? Like I was just kind of like, that was weird. I felt like since I avoided this guy actually like putting his hands on me, I felt like nothing happened, Mm-hmm. But then, as you get older, you're like, no, that did have an impact in how, your ability to trust people, the way, it kind of, I'd say it kind of wises you up to the ways of the world at a young age. And so after that point, I acted very differently towards people than I did before, I would say.
Damn.
So just like, I don't want to go there. Nothing happened to me. I'm just going to bury that and move on.
Let me rephrase that question. What brought it out at age 40?
I think, well, we can get into it, but I just think when you start kind of, you get a little bit older and you start reflecting on your life, the things you've done, the things that have happened to you, and then you just want to tell the truth. You don't want to have any secrets, And so you're just like, wow, you have kids too. And you're just like, that's crazy that happened to me. Like what a piece of shit, you know? I can't believe that there are people like that in this world that would prey on kids. And then you have your own kids and you're going, okay, like I'm not trusting anybody. Like if there's an overnight trip, I'm going. Like, I trust my family. And that's the extent of it when it comes to overnight trips with my kids.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.